Hope is not just another alien monster movie. On paper, it sounds like a large-scale science fiction thriller. A remote Korean village, a mysterious creature, police officers trying to protect the people, and strange extraterrestrial forces entering the story. But with Hong-jin behind the camera, that simple premise becomes something much stranger, darker, and more ambitious. Hong-jin is not a director who usually makes comfortable movies. His work has always lived in that space between fear, violence, mystery, and moral confusion. The Chaser took the serial killer thriller and made it feel feverish and desperate. The Wailing turned a small village into a nightmare of ghosts, demons, suspicion, and spiritual panic. Now, with Hope, he returns after almost a decade with what may be his biggest gamble yet. A massive Korean sci-fi action film with monster movie energy, expensive visual effects, international stars, and the ambition of a global franchise. The story takes place near the heavily fortified border between North and South Korea, in a remote village called Hope Harbor. It begins almost like a local emergency. Something strange has happened. A dangerous beast may be moving through the area. The police chief, Boom-suk, played by Hwang Jung-min, and the officer Sung-ae, played by Hoyeon, are forced to defend a vulnerable village where many of the residents are elderly. Reinforcements have been diverted to fight wildfires. Communications are cut off. Help is not coming. That is already a powerful setup. A small place, isolated from the world, surrounded by mountains, smoke, fear, and bad information. You can almost feel the air getting heavier. The damp forest, the smell of burned wood in the distance, the nervous silence before something breaks. And then, what begins as a possible animal attack starts growing into something much bigger. Sung-ki, played by Zo In-sung, and a group of locals go into the mountains to track the beast, but slowly the hunters become the hunted. That is where Hope becomes more than a creature feature. The film seems interested in the moment when human beings stop understanding what they are facing, and their fear starts making the disaster worse. Hong-jin has described the deeper idea as something small and innocent, building into something tragic. Nobody necessarily begins with evil intentions, but ignorance, panic, pride, and violence can accumulate until the consequences are no longer local. They become cosmic. And that may be the most interesting part of Hope. The title sounds comforting, almost optimistic, but the movie seems to use it with irony. This is a village named Hope, yet the story appears to ask what happens when hope is the last thing left after reason, communication, and order have failed. The cast is also part of what makes the project so unusual. Hwang Jung-min plays a Boom-suk, the local police chief trying to hold the village together. Hoyeon, known internationally after Squid Game, plays Sung-ae, an officer thrown into chaos. Zo In-sung plays Sung-ki, a man following clues into the mountains. And then there are Michael Fassbender and Alicia Vikander, not as ordinary outsiders, but as alien beings. Taylor Russell and Cameron Britton also appear as part of the extraterrestrial side of the story. That combination is strange in the best possible way. It is not just a Korean monster film with Hollywood actors added for marketing. Has suggested that the alien characters are part of a larger story, possibly even a future sequel. So Hope may not be only one movie, it may be the beginning of a much bigger mythology. Visually, the film seems to carry the weight of older genre cinema. Has talked about films made before 2000, and you can feel that influence in the kind of references people are making. Jaws, The Thing, and Bong Joon-ho's The Host. But Hope does not seem like a copy of those films. It seems to take their DNA, the community under threat, the creature that may be more than an animal, the fear of contamination, the chase, the panic, and the way people become dangerous when they believe they are doing the right thing. That last idea may be the real engine of the movie. Hope is full of action, chases, guns, and survival, but underneath the spectacle, there is a question about perspective. Who is really chasing whom? When does righteous fear become injustice? When does defense become violence? And when does a small mistake become something impossible to stop? The film premiered in competition at the Cannes Film Festival on May 17, 2026, and reportedly received a 7-minute standing ovation. For a movie this huge, loud, bloody, and strange, Cannes is an unusual place to launch. But that is also what makes it interesting. Hope is not trying to fit neatly into the idea of prestige cinema or blockbuster entertainment. It seems to be both at once. A monster movie with art house anxiety, a sci-fi spectacle with moral sickness underneath, a disaster story that begins in mud, smoke, and panic, then expands toward the universe. Hope is scheduled for a summer 2026 release in South Korea, with Neon handling the US release in fall 2026. Mubi has also acquired distribution rights in several territories, including Latin America, which makes this especially worth tracking. What makes Hope fascinating is not only the aliens or the monster. It is the idea that the greatest threat may not be the unknown thing in the mountains, but the way people react when they cannot understand it. In Hong-jin's hands, a village emergency becomes a cosmic tragedy, a hunt becomes a moral collapse, and a place called Hope becomes the stage for one of the